You've heard the phrase before, your thoughts create your reality, but few people ever ask how. How does the invisible world of the mind shape the visible one? What is the actual mechanism that connects an inner image to an outer event? Carl Jung spent his entire life studying this mystery, and what he discovered was that manifestation isn't a trick of thought, it's a movement of the psyche. Most people try to manifest from the surface. They visualize, repeat affirmations, chase positivity, but they do this with only a fraction of their mind, the conscious part. Meanwhile, the unconscious, which holds the real power, stays untouched. It's like trying to steer a ship by blowing on the sails while the rudder remains fixed. The hidden mechanism of manifestation begins in the depths, in the unconscious itself. Jung saw the unconscious not as chaos, but as an intelligent system that organizes symbols, emotions, and memories into patterns. Those patterns become your experience, not by magic, but by resonance. The psyche is like a magnet. It doesn't pull toward what you want. It pulls toward what you are. Your conscious mind might say, I want peace. But if your unconscious is filled with conflict, your reality will echo that conflict until you recognize it. The world outside responds to the inner vibration, not the spoken wish. Jung called this process projection. Whatever you refuse to see within yourself, you will meet in the world. The people who frustrate you, the patterns that keep repeating, the opportunities that slip away, they're mirrors of what lives inside you. The unconscious uses outer events to bring inner content into awareness. That's why your life feels cyclical until you change internally. Manifestation is not about controlling the external. It's about reading what your external reality is trying to teach you. The conscious and unconscious are like two currents. When they move in opposite directions, you experience resistance, struggle, confusion, failure. When they align, life flows effortlessly. That alignment is the real secret behind manifestation. So how do you align them? Not by suppressing thoughts, but by understanding them. When you notice your reactions, jealousy, fear, doubt, don't fight them. Listen. Ask what belief they reveal. If you fear losing love, maybe a part of you still believes you're unworthy of it. If you fear success, perhaps you associate it with isolation or guilt. When you bring these unconscious fears into light, they stop sabotaging you from the dark. The mind creates through imagery and emotion. Every thought wrapped in feeling becomes a symbolic message to the unconscious. That's why you can't fool it with empty words. If you say, I'm wealthy but feel poor inside, the unconscious takes the feeling as truth. It manifests what is felt, not what is said. This is where Jung's idea of active imagination becomes practical. He taught that you can communicate with the unconscious through symbols and images. When you visualize not as fantasy, but as relationship, when you feel the image as real and meaningful, you start a dialogue with the psyche, and the psyche responds. It brings opportunities, synchronicities, insights. Reality begins to rearrange itself around your new inner structure. But the ego often gets impatient. It wants instant proof. It treats manifestation like ordering from a catalog. Think it and it will arrive. Jung warned against this. The unconscious doesn't serve the ego. It serves the whole self, the totality of who you are. So if you try to manifest something that contradicts your deeper path, it will not appear. Or it will appear in a way that reveals your shadow instead. That's why the first stage of real manifestation is integration. You must bring your conscious desires and unconscious motives into harmony. You must face the parts of you that resist what you say you want. This is what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole. As you integrate more of yourself, your reality becomes more coherent. Coincidences begin to align. The outer world starts moving with you, not against you. Jung's concept of synchronicity explains this perfectly. He described it as a meaningful connection between inner and outer events that have no causal link. When you are psychologically aligned, inner meaning and outer circumstance begin to echo each other. You think of a person and they call. You let go of fear and an opportunity opens. The psyche and the world start speaking the same symbolic language. That's the hidden mechanism. Not cause and effect, but meaning and reflection. Reality responds not to effort, but to coherence. When your thoughts, feelings, and actions carry the same vibration, creation becomes natural. It doesn't feel like manifesting. It feels like unfolding. Let's take a simple example. You want to manifest financial freedom. The ego says, I need more money. But the unconscious might carry beliefs like, money corrupts, or I don't deserve comfort. Until those beliefs are addressed, the unconscious will block your success. Not out of cruelty, but out of loyalty to its own logic. It will keep you safe from what it believes is dangerous. When you uncover that belief, see it, and thank it for protecting you, something shifts. The energy that was stuck begins to flow. You naturally start acting differently, with confidence, not fear, and life mirrors that change, or love. You want a deep connection, but part of you still fears vulnerability. So the unconscious ensures that every relationship you attract stays just out of reach. It's not rejecting you. It's reflecting your own boundary. When you soften that fear, when you open again, love doesn't need to be chased. It appears. That's how manifestation really works. It's not about forcing reality to match your wishes. It's about becoming internally consistent so reality can reflect your truth. When you are divided inside, the world feels fragmented. When you are whole, the world becomes whole too. So stop asking, why isn't it happening? Ask instead, what inside me is not yet aligned with it? Asking, what is life trying to show me right now? Those questions open the door to transformation. And transformation is the real manifestation. When you stop seeing the unconscious as an enemy and begin relating to it as an ally, the whole dynamic changes. Your dreams, emotions, and coincidences become messages. You begin to realize the universe is not something outside you. It's the language of your own psyche. Jung once said, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. The more you awaken, the more the dream obeys. Not because you control it, but because you are no longer separate from it. Creation happens through you. Life becomes an expression of your inner wholeness. That is the hidden mechanism of manifestation. Not control, but coherence. Not desire, but alignment. Not attraction, but becoming. Because you do not get what you want. You get what you are. And when you become whole, reality becomes whole with you. Made possible through the wisdom of Jung.